Minister John, when you was out there in that world, I actually seen you up on 125th Street in the Baby Grant back in the early 80s, and you was flashing, really flashy, with diamonds and mink coats and suits and gator shoes and everything. And I kind of was checking you out. What was you doing to make that type of money?
Well, brother Minister Hines, a lot of people have asked me that. They was curious about that. At that time, I didn't know that I was standing out like that. But later on in life, a lot of them came to me in different cities I was in. Said, man, I know you from New York. Or I know you from Boston. Or I know you from Los Angeles, which I lived in Los Angeles 3 years. I lived in Boston. And I lived in Detroit, New York, New Jersey, and Nassau, Bahamas. So I'm on the international level because I was a real player. And I run with the best of the players. Now if you want to know what I was doing when I was in those cities, every city that you visit or went to had other players. And so real players connect with other players and they let you know what's going on in the city. And I was able enough to be a professional gambler, cars, dice, horses, dogs, or whatever. Even when I was in Miami, I made a good living at the dog track because I learned the game to a degree. You don't never master it 100%, but you can follow it enough or you won't get strung out there in it. But I say this to say that, and I say that to say this. Y'all call it pimping when I was out there, but I call it a bender. Because I was taught by the best. I was taught by the queens and the granny of the game. You understand? Taught me how to conduct myself in a way with young ladies in the game. Not to beat them upside the head, to box with them, lead the boxing of Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. You don't need to do that. You understand? Keep your fingernails manicured. Keep your jewelry clean. You understand? Keep yourself in a finesse style, with class, in style. Everything that it takes to be professional in what you're doing, there's three main things that you must maintain. Finesse, class, in style. The most of all, have an understanding of what you're doing. Again, I did not call it pimping, it was a bender. It was here before I got here. It's going to be here after I'm gone. Again, a woman going to be a woman, a man going to be a man. You understand? I was just able enough to go through it because I had some good teaching from the best. And I know I'm winding up being successful with it because I'm here today to be able to bear witness. Anything you do, if you do it professional, you will accomplish a goal for it.
And also, I understand that you knew my mother when I left Richmond, Virginia, and wound up in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And you was at the Prince Charles Hotel.
Okay. Well, when I left New York, I did not want to leave New York. It was a spiritual thing that pulled me out of New York. I definitely didn't want to leave New York because I had everything going for me. And it made me go back to Jonah when God gave him a vision to go to one city and he went to another city, how he suffered from behind being disobedient. So when I came to North Carolina from New York, I came down here and got back in church. You understand? I got back in church and I was serious about it, and I opened up me a business downtown Fayetteville, Butler's Wig and Novelty Shop. Had a beautiful business of merchandise. And I stayed there, you understand, in and out of church, and I came up here to show and started going to school. I was in and out of school, in and out, because I had my plate full. I had so much going for myself. But on the same token, again, I don't look, you understand, as I was doing those sinful things when I was out there with the ladies. It was a business to me. Y'all call it pimping, but I call it a business. And through God, I got to put him in it. He had his arm around it because I guess you'll say, can you put God in this? God the one created the devil. You ain't got but two forces, negatives and positives. You understand? But the main thing about life, you got to come into the knowledge of the negative and the positive. As they say, the good and the bad. Again, Solomon was the greatest man on this earth in his time. But God told him he needed something else. You understand? And I used to wonder, you tell me Solomon, all that he had, and God told him he needed something else? Yeah, man. Go to 1 Kings, the 3rd chapter, 1 through 9, and read it. And I read where God told him he needed discernment to know good from bad. You understand? And so I was able to survive through God to make the transformation to be able to help somebody else through the things that I was doing, you understand, they might profit from it to do the will of God, because we got to go through the sinful world before we come into the good, and he have never called a righteous man to do nothing, you understand. He called sinners to repent, just like he did Saul, and turn out to be one of the greatest apostles. And so the same thing going on then in the biblical days, it's going on now. We out here in this sinful world, some of the brothers understand that you might think will never be nothing. But he tell you in his word, he will use, you understand, the simple one that you call nothing to confine the wise. And so before it's all said and done, the one out here in the wilderness done been through it, he will use them to submit to his will.
And also here, I see that you have a degree in theology, if I'm right, and you went to Shaw University.
Well, I was just getting back into line with what I supposed to do at the beginning. I didn't have no knowledge